Welcome to Eye on Sterile Processing. I am so glad you made it. We're going to talk about this job report is going to be about interviewing because outside of the resume, the interview is the most important part of the hiring process because the resume, well, I don't know. Maybe the resume is the most important part because if you can make it through the resume and I guess elimination process, because what happened, a lot of places are using these application tracking uh, software to eliminate people because they're looking for keywords. So if you don't have the keywords necessary, then a lot of times your resume is not going to even make it to the hiring manager or the recruiter. So if you made it that far and now you have an interview, then obviously you were able to get that part right. So now you got to get the interview right. And of course, as you know, you may have an interview with the recruiter, the manager, the HR. It could be several people that you have interviews with. It could be a panel of people you have an interview with. It could be an in-person, virtual, or a phone interview. So you need to make sure that you are absolutely ready for these different types of interviews. But the most important part you have to ask yourself is, does this company give you what you're looking for? You have to be honest. Now, if you're just looking for a paycheck, most people don't want to hear that, but maybe they do. So that's not for me to tell you what to say and what not to say. For me to tell you or suggest to you that whatever you're trying to accomplish, they are able to offer to you, and it's in line with the mission and vision of your personal goals, as well as in line with the mission and vision of the facility. Excuse me. So I think when you come from that aspect of things, your interview is going to go far because it doesn't make sense to sit down and practice a bunch of interview questions because you can walk inside of an interview and you thinking, oh, okay, I got all these questions together, but they just want to talk to you about just regular conversation, and it's very informal. They want to get to know you as a person. You've been studying behavior and situational and technical interview techniques, and you didn't have to use any of that. So now you're blindsided. So you need to really think about going in there with your authentic self, knowing exactly what they have to offer, knowing what you want, and see how you guys can come to an agreement. And that's really what it comes down to, if you ask me. So today we're going to cover, because we always want to know what's in it for you. We're going to talk about behavior, situational, and technical interviews, and then the different software that they use when they're interviewing you. Because of course, during COVID, now that companies are using all sorts of different software to interview you. So are you familiar with it? Do you already have it on your computer? Because trust me, I'm telling you this not because I get everything right all the time. I'm telling you this because I didn't got caught slipping. Whereas I'm like, oh, okay, the interview is tomorrow at whoop whoop time or whatever. I just on my calendar, I'm just gonna click on it and I'll get, automatically logged into the interview. Well, no, I realized I didn't have that software. So now I gotta go through the downloading processing and the security clearance or whatever, all the things you have to go through. And I end up being close to being late to interviews. Another thing I run into personally is time zones. I've been in juggling between two different time zones. 1 minute I'm on Eastern, 1 minute I'm in Central, and I was totally late for for an interview because I moved my time zone within 24, 48 hours, and I still had in my mind to be there at Eastern time when I was in, Central time, and vice versa. There's been situations where I thought I was late, but I was an hour early to a phone interview because of time zone. So those are a few things you have to think about too when you're dealing with your interview. Now let's get straight on into the behavior interview, because it's like, all right, what are we talking about when we're dealing with behavior interview? What you need to do is think about the times, and all you're going to do is think about the times, how you were able to complete a task or how you were able to respond to different situations. And the main thing, or what the technique a lot of people use, is STAR. So they kind of want to know the situation, the task, the action, and the results. That's all they want to know. What was going on? What did you have to do? Like, who did you involve and what technique did you use? And then what was the outcome? So you can easily start thinking about it right now. It's like, oh my God, I remember that. Yep, the OR called and they said that they had a turnover. You know what I mean? And it was a one of a kind tray. And you knew they were going to need it for the next case, because of course they don't space things out like they should. And they're going to need it for the next case. And it was like, oh my God, are we going to have it ready in time? And you were faced with this. So what did you do? Well, you know what I did? I had a relationship, because it's always good with building relationships. I had a relationship with the charge nurse. I had a relationship with the scrub tech. I had a relationship with somebody up there. So when they were done with that set, they were able to call me, notify me, and I was able to go up there and get that set, or they were able to put it on a dumbwaiter, or they were end up calling me to let me know it was on a dumbwaiter. Whatever it was, before the case was even over, they were done with that particular set, and we were able to start the reprocessing sooner than later. And then once it got to decon, I let that person in decon know, hey, this is a turnover, a high priority. I will need you to get that, take care of that first. When it gets in the wash, we make sure we label the outside the wash on the receiving side to say, hey, there's a priority set in here. On the prep and pack side or the assembly side, hey, Cylindra, that set is coming out of washer 2. I'm going to need you to take care of it. You know what? I'm going to talk to David, who's doing sterilization that day, and say, David, make sure you keep a sterilizer open because we have a set coming through. Those are the things you need to think about that you do every day, all the time. Different situations you've been put in, people you've been involved to help you solve these problems. And you didn't even think about that you're using the STAR method, but you are. So like I said, you don't really have to study or memorize interviewing questions. All you have to do is sit back and reflect on different situations you've been in your department, and you would be fine. The situational interviews, what would you do if, okay? What would you do if someone pushed in a load and realized they didn't have a challenge pack on that load, probably implants on it. As soon as they press start, they realize that they canceled a load. What do you do? Do you rewrap the whole entire load, recontainerize the whole entire load? It just started. It never made to the sterilization phase. What do you do? I've seen people pop all the trays, pop all the wrap sets, and they had it all reprocessed. Why? Is that necessary? What would you do? What do you do if you don't know what to do? Do you have resources, a database, or books? Do you have people that you can call? See, let me explain something to you. A lot of people are afraid to be in positions because they like, what if I don't know? You're not going to know it all, but can you find the answer? So that's what you need to think about. Do you have resources? Do you have people? Do you have ways of finding out information? I am very quick to be in a facility I've never been in my whole entire life. I'm the supervisor in charge, and I will let you know, I don't know. I will need your help. How do you do this? They looking at me like, well, you the supervisor. Yes, I am, but you are the authority right now because I don't know, and I'm gonna need your help if we plan on being successful. So I want you to think about that. There's another situation I've encountered where people want to know, do you requalify a machine, a sterilizer, steam sterilizer, if it's been cleaned? Okay, I know the answer to that. No, but can you find information to back that up? And when that was a question, I went straight to Amy ST79. I said, well, these are the reasons why you would requalify a machine, and cleaning it is not one of them. I was comfortable with saying it doesn't have to be requalified. They were still kind of on the fence. Okay, the machine did get requalified, of course. Okay, so yeah, you need to figure out what kind of resources you have available to help you with making decisions. Another thing we want to talk about is technical. Now, I kind of mentioned about requalifying machines, but how do you requalify the machines? You know that you need to do it, but do you know how to do it? Do you know how to run a leak test every week? Do you understand what the purpose of the control is? Do you know where to put the biological in the V-Pro or the Sterad? Do you know where to put it in the steam if you're dealing with Bellamat or you're dealing with Steris? Or you're dealing with, what's that other one out there? I can't think of the other one. I can't think of it. I just worked with it in my last facility. But you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how to work these machines? Do you know how to do the washer test? Do you know how to run the test on the Sonic? These are technical things. Do you know how to do them? Do you know how to process and prove things in the department? You know what I mean? Do you understand throughput? Do you understand bottlenecks? Do you understand these things that can continuously flow things through the department? Do you understand that? Which data can you use to help save money? I'll tell you a situation where they didn't even realize that they were losing instruments all the time. Like, we were doing sets and people constantly were coming back. Of course, you guys know Atsons are always missing. Towel clamps are always missing. But the particular person in the department who really didn't understand sterile processing didn't realize these things were missing. But they had access to a report that I didn't know anything about. And when they ran the report, it matched up exactly what I was saying, that we were losing a lot of instruments. And that cost a lot of money. So that was a way to use technology to see that we're losing money, and we were able to address that issue. So you need to think about different things like that that you probably have done that help save money. Processes. It's something as simple as having all the supplies you need at your workstation, moving all the wrapping paper closer to the wrapping station, to have more of something, to minimize you walking back and forth to get something or to get to something else, sitting and waiting for the washer to unload. You know what I mean? You have 5 or 10 people on prep and pack waiting for things to come through decon, but only 2 people in decon. How about you move some people out of prep and pack, put them in decon, and let's get that stuff pushed through? You got to think about things like that as well. So, when we talk about phone interviews, of course, we use a phone. Make sure you have service. I've definitely been in that situation where I didn't have great service. It was choppy. It was horrible. I knew better. I should have done better, but I didn't. So make sure you're in a place where you can hear, you're in a place that's quiet, and you have a great connection. Different technology. You got Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meets, you got WebEx, you got GoToMeetings, Zoho, and Ring Central, and plus a whole lot more out there. Do you know how to use this technology? If there's an interview, ask them, okay, yes, we're going to have a video interview. What software will you be using? Because if you know what software they're using, then you can play with it yourself. You can reach out to somebody like me and we can run through it. And I actually do offer that as a service. If you go to ionspd.com and you click on interviewing, there will be a link that you can book an appointment with me for us to not only interview or have mock interviews that we can record so you can critique yourself, but I will also look over your resume to see what that looked like. And if you don't need that, we don't have to go through that, but that is an option for you. Now, as far as resources, like I said, you go to ionspd.com, there's going to be more resources there besides interviewing and besides resumes. There's going to be resources on there for you if you're trying to study for your CER. I have endoscope information, videos, descriptions, and everything on there. If you're trying to get your CE units, that's on there as well. So that's pretty much a one-stop shop for you to find everything you need when it comes to sterile processing, and it's definitely going to be there for interviewing and resume. So like I said, you really don't have to study a bunch of questions, even though I do have questions on my website, and I also have a lot of videos and stuff on there to help you with the interviewing process. I also have resources for you to check your pay, because you need to know, once you get accepted that job and they offer you a job and you accept the job, now it's time to negotiate your pay. What are you worth? What are they willing to pay in that area? Do you need to negotiate relocation? Are you trying to get you a bonus or anything? Are you trying to get shift differential? Are you trying to get premium pay? Do you want more time off? Are they going to front load your PTO? These are the things you need to think about if they do offer you the job. And if they don't, how do you say no thank you to them in a nice professional way? Thank you, but no thank you. How do you walk away? And you have to know that you can walk away, and that is also okay. So again, you guys go out there, continue to be great. And until next time, peace.